evening, everyone, and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. And on tonight's program, we'll be discussing disputes. Why do many arguments get out of control, and when should you walk away from a dispute and even end a relationship? Well, my guest tonight, our psychologist, Dr Lucy Atcheson, and I will also be joined by singer-songwriter Zahra Palmer, telling us about how she fought for so long in a relationship, then finally learnt to let go. And she'll also be performing for us, and let me tell you, she has a fantastic voice. And of course, it's Monday, which means it's the self-development clinic with Browne later on. But first, let's speak to the lovely Patricia, who's here to share some news with us. Hello, Patricia.
Hi, Chris.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Now, we're still buzzing from a certain event we were at yesterday, weren't we?
Yes.
We were at Wembley last night, and it was fantastic. We were there for the Love School. What a great
Stop
turnout.
talking about it.
What
Everyone is talking about it.
Yeah. 11,500 people. I was there hosting with Browne, who's going to be telling us about it later on because he's still buzzing as well. What did you like most about the event, Patricia?
Everything. First, the atmosphere was great because it was packed.
Yeah.
Like you said, close to 11,000 people. And the performances and the Love School event, the actual show with Renato and Christiane. So much to learn.
Oh yeah, well, there's a wedding proposal as well. That was so nice. The poor girl had no idea.
Yes.
We knew about it, of course, but she didn't, the poor thing. She was shocked. And those are the presenters of the Love School. It was fantastic.
It was
so
funny.
Good. Yeah.
The audience was so, I think everyone was just happy, and
the
everyone
audience
kept talking
were
about it.
fantastic. I've been speaking about this all day. They were so nice and
very
receptive.
interactive.
Yeah, very interactive.
And there were things that Renato would say and about men, and all the men would start whistling, and
Yeah,
he would say something about the women, and the women would start all clapping their hands.
It was really good.
It was great.
I wish we could do it again very soon.
Yeah, I wish we could do another one tomorrow.
But hopefully we'll do it once a year because it'll be great together. It was such an honour to be able to host it last night. It was really good.
I'll look forward to it.
Everyone loved it. So, but we're going to be showing you more. We did do some filming there as well for the Chrissy B Show too. So we're going to be showing you some clips of that very soon, hopefully. So Patricia, you got some news for us?
Yes, I do. I always like to bring good news.
Thank you.
To motivate other people. And this week I found something really amazing that I thought I have to bring this on the show.
Okay.
A homeless man in America, Glenn James, he's been homeless for a few years now. He found a backpack full of money and travel's checks worth over £26,000.
Wow.
And if you were homeless, you find a backpack full of money, what do? The first thought is, oh, let me spend it. But he didn't. He returned it to the police.
Oh, are you serious?
It was returned to the owner.
Oh.
And someone heard
People
about
were thinking,
it.
you're crazy man, why did you do that? But no, it was very good, very sensible.
But look, listen to the turnaround.
Okay. She's trying to say, shut up, Chris, let me carry on.
They were talking about it because
Yeah.
such a good deed, a good Samaritan. So a fundraiser, I think a project manager or something, he created a page online on the internet for everyone to chip in and help him as a thank you for his good deed. So the backpack was full of £26,000, worth £26,000, but he managed to raise over £62,000.
Yay! Oh, that's amazing.
31,000 just in one day.
Gosh.
Everyone was just thanking him and sending him donations online. So he ended up getting more than what he had to.
Do you see? So honesty pays off, doesn't it?
And something that he said, the fundraiser who created the page for him, he said that he's heard about him and that he actually got to meet him in the end. So he said that the man kept saying thank you, but the biggest thing is that I was trying to convince him that he didn't have to thank us. We were actually thanking him for having done that. So I just thought I would bring this because
that's lovely, isn't it?
it motivates other people.
He deserved that, didn't he?
It doesn't matter what kind of
Yeah.
financial situation you're in. I think your honesty should come first.
Definitely.
It doesn't belong to you.
If there was no name on any of the stars, but
Yeah,
there was names on it, right?
I'm sure there was because they found
the traveller's
owner.
checks. They would have, everything.
they would.
But that just shows when you do something really good like that, that's not going to go unnoticed.
If you know who it
is
belongs to,
Yeah.
even if you saw someone drop 20 pounds on the floor,
Of course, yeah.
and you know it was the person just in front of you, so don't keep it. Just give it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true. The moral story of the day. I'm so happy for him.
Now let's talk a bit about fashion. I don't know if you've heard this, and I don't know. I don't really know it's gonna catch on, but
Oh God.
now they are creating. You know, the kind of mobile phone you use says a lot about you, right? If you have a nice smartphone, or if you have like a Nokia 3210 something, it says a lot about you. So now designers are trying to match mobile phones with fashion. So they are building doing built-in phones on shoes, handbags, and gloves.
Please. Oh, gloves maybe, but not a shoe. Why would you walk around with a shoe in your hand? At least a glove you've got on anyway.
Your phone rings. Oh, hold on a second.
Hold on, keep that picture on the screen, please. Okay, the bag, I wouldn't use that. The only one I could see myself using, I don't know what's that second one. What is that second one?
They're all bags.
They're all bags?
Yeah, and there's one with gloves.
I would possibly use the glove one because that wouldn't look so weird. But if you're putting a bag up to your face or a shoe, that just looks crazy, doesn't it? I don't know about our guests tonight. What do you reckon, guys? Would you use anything like that? No, they're all saying no. Not even the glove. I would use the glove. No.
The glove.
The glove. I think the glove's quite a good idea to keep warm and you keep your face warm at the same time.
Well, they have a speaker on your thumb and a microphone on your last finger, so you just walk around.
I think that's a good idea. That one, yeah, definitely. Because when you're cold, you don't want to take your gloves off to answer a call, or do you? You just want to keep when it's freezing cold. You don't want to take your gloves off to be answering call, even to
because even for you to answer the phone, you can't do it with your glove. You have to actually take it out.
Unless you've got one of those, those nice gloves up with the thing, the ones that they do now. I don't know what they're called. You know what I mean, don't you?
But the glove, okay, pair of gloves with a built-in mobile phone, they're worth £1,000.
Oh.
Just so you know.
I'll stick to taking my gloves off and using my phone. Thank you very much.
Now, something else.
What would you do? Would you get one? If you had £1,000 swimming around, like?
I think, because as it says, it's a fashion thing. So I think once you see everybody's using it, wearing these nice bags, designer bags with built-in phones, I would probably feel tempted to get one.
What, a bag with a phone?
A bag or a
What's the point of having a designer bag and then looking stupid when you put it up to your face?
Maybe the gloves, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But sorry, I'm interrupting.
Definitely not the shoes. We're always talking about, now we're going to talk about finances. We're always talking about how everybody, the countries, the crisis and the financial crisis. But this university, it's being sponsored by Bournemouth University. They are investing £2 million for some students to go to Cuba and Ethiopia to study chickens. They want to find out more about chickens and humans.
And that's just in case people didn't know what a chicken looked like. That's why we've got that on the screen.
Yeah. They've been around for ages.
I love our choice of pictures sometimes on this show. It's wonderful.
But you would think of course, there's someone from the Taxpayers Alliance is saying that this is frankly an absurd sum of money to spend on what appears to be a ridiculous study.
But what is it for, though, exactly?
They want to see how chickens interact with humans. And they're going to try
for any benefit to humans, or just they're trying to see the communication?
Not really. They are going to try and train some chickens, maybe like pet chickens, and see how they develop.
I could understand if there was some medical reason behind it.
No.
But just to study chickens in general, the chicken behaviour and stuff. I mean, they're pretty... I can't say they're really dumb animals because I don't know really, but, I don't think it's worth £2 million.
£2 million. Taxpayers' money.
Yeah, it's a bit of a waste, I think.
In the end, they started saying that they're also going to study the chicken bones and the chicken eggs. But I think they only came up with that after...
Yeah. After they got complaints?
Yes. Do we have time for one more?
One more. I think we've got time for one more, yeah. One quick one.
Oh, it's a bit of a sad story, this one.
I don't like sad stories on this
We've talked about this.
It's a happy show.
Something like this before.
Yeah.
A boy,
really fast.
A 4-year-old boy.
Oh, no.
Ran away from school on his first day. Because he wanted his mommy.
Oh.
So at lunchtime, the gates were unlocked and he just vanished.
But did they find him though?
He went home. He managed to, I don't know, he walked his way home. When he got home, nobody was home. So he got his bike and went to his neighbor's house.
Oh gosh.
But apparently a lady saw him walking out of the school and she was in a car, so she followed him. And then eventually...
Yeah, she would have got accused of abducting him if she tried to put him in the car, wouldn't she?
That's what the mom was saying. She was saying, I wonder what the school would say if he was had
it's
an accident or abducted or something.
I don't know who it was, if it was Lizzie or Bianca, or was it you that
The
put the other story about the
two-year-old.
two-year-old that went home? And I'm thinking, aren't these teachers keeping an eye on these kids? Because they just seem to be just, okay, I don't like it here, mummy, I'm just going to go home and find you, kind of thing. It's so dangerous. Please, you have to, take care of these kids. We'll run out of time. But thank you so much. I wasn't sad because at least, they found him safe and sound. Yeah. Thank you so much, Patricia.
You're welcome.
And after the break, I'm going to be joined by my lovely guest to talk all about disputes. So do join us after this. Now, before I talk to my lovely guest, let's take a look at this video of some common things that happen sometimes in relationships.
Right, what restaurant do you want to go to then?
I don't know, you choose.
Me? I can't just be more decisive. What restaurant do you want to go to?
Well, let's go to your favourite one. It's only just here, so...
Yeah? Is that all right with you?
That's fine with me.
All right, let's go then. Do you just try and nudge me?
Do I try and nudge you?
We always nudge and push. You don't walk straight in a straight line.
Just go in.
Walk in a straight line. It's simple.
I hate you so much right now. I hate you so much right now.
Right. What do you reckon we should go for then tonight? Something heavy or something light?
I'm going to go for something light, I think.
Really? Why?
Had a big lunch.
Oh, right. What, when you knew we were going out for dinner?
Well, I was hungry then, and I'm not hungry now.
Well, it's just a bit rude because we're going out for dinner. This is supposed to be date night when we go out for dinner.
All right, then I'll have something big.
Okay.
I hate you so much right now.
I think I'll go for the salmon. That sounds good.
Salmon?
Yeah.
Well, you know that I don't eat fish, so we can't really share then.
Yeah, but I'm choosing the salmon because I like it. You said you don't like it, so there's no point in picking something I like.
Oh, it's just now you're just making a big mountain out of a molehill.
All I'm saying is, I chose something which you don't like.
Yeah.
Then
So
you
you're
chose
ordering
something that you don't like, which means you're going to have nothing. Where's the sense in that?
All right, well, what's the big deal? Just tell you what, why don't you pick for both of us, and then we can leave that, and we can talk about other stuff afterwards,
I've already chosen my thing, and you said you don't like
I
it.
don't really care, you'll just be really annoying. Like,
Right, so if I order salmon
just
twice...
whatever, just shush, okay? Just be quiet, you're just really getting on my nerves.
Right, so you want the two dishes that you don't like? That's what you're saying?
Whatever, I just don't think about it anymore.
Okay, no, fine. I'll order two dishes that you don't like.
Okay, yeah, that'd
And
be
I'll
great.
sit here and eat them, and you can sit here and watch
Hi,
me.
Excuse me, I'd like to order two dishes that I don't like, please.
No, you just...
I hate you so much right now. I hate you so much right now.
Oh, that was funny. I'm sure it wasn't funny for them because if it was a real life situation, but I just found Barbara hilarious. Okay, so now I'm joined by psychologist Dr Lucy Atcheson and singer-songwriter Zahra Palmer. Hello, ladies.
Hi, hello.
How are you both?
Great, thank you.
Does that actually look familiar to either of you, that scene?
Oh yeah. It's actually ridiculous when I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I've done that before. I've been in a restaurant with my hubby when we were having a few issues and a few little arguments and stuff. And it's true, you get into these silly arguments sometimes, and then by the time you sort of sitting down to enjoy the meal, it's all spoiled and you can't really kind of go back. Although sometimes, we used to have a bit of a laugh about it afterwards. But once you sort of start arguing about silly things, it's quite hard to kind of come back from them.
It sure is.
Yeah.
I think it can look comical, but actually it just feels so critical. And when you're in it, it drains everything of the joy.
Doesn't it?
Because that date just looked hideous. Because it's supposed to be about fun and it's supposed to be making each other feel good. But that's a cycle of criticism.
Yeah.
And you're just going to both feel pretty hopeless by the end of that.
I mean, it was a bad start, wasn't it, from the very beginning? Even like, oh, you're walking into me and like, oh, you choose which one. I mean, I think at least one of them should have maybe decided where they were going to go, and at least, because sometimes people even argue about where they're going to go. It's true. It's something so small. Can't someone just make a decision and they both stick to it?
That relationship looked like hard work.
Yeah.
And we all have to work at our relationships, obviously.
Yeah.
But when it feels too hard, you have to ask yourself, do I need to let go? I mean, is this going anywhere? Are we going to resolve ourselves? Are we going to end up being happier? Or are we just going to really destroy each other's self-esteem?
I mean, I'm a firm believer that with the right help and with the right guidance, a couple can recover. Of course, it's different if it's an abusive relationship and, you know, there's the one that one party doesn't want to get the help for that. That's different. But if, for example, the couple's just having sort of arguments that every couple does, I always think that with the right guidance, with the right advice, and both of them willing to change, I think a relationship can always be saved, as mine was one day. But obviously, there's sometimes people aren't willing to make that sacrifice and willing to make those changes in their relationship, are they?
I think in order to save your relationship, it sounds obvious, but you both need to want to. And if you both want to, and you're going to put the effort in and increase your empathy, then any relationship can be saved. But if one of you is defensive and stuck in arguing, then it can't be saved because you're not going to put the effort in.
That's right. Now, Zahra, you've been on this side of the fence, haven't you, with all the arguments and stuff. What was actually going on in your relationship?
So basically, I was with a guy who, when I first met him, I was absolutely head over heels, besotted, in love. He was like the perfect guy, Prince Charming, everything you could ever want. And then what happens is 6 months down the line, obviously you get to see people's flaws and see how they are. And with me, I'm more giving as the few months go along, whereas he was very take. And there's nothing that I wouldn't have done for him.
Did he kind of change over time, or was he like
really
great at the beginning and then he started to kind of...
Well, that's what I thought. I thought it was maybe because he'd met me and he changed. But people that I met along the way, there was like, he's always been like that. He's just shown you a completely different side when he first met you, So what happened with us in the beginning, I noticed little things like he'd always turn his phone upside down, so if there's a message come through, you know, you couldn't see who it was, or he'd have to walk outside and use the phone. If he went to the toilet, he'd have to take his phone. He couldn't go to the kitchen without making a cup of tea, without taking a phone. And I used to question these things, and he was like, "You're
Rightly
crazy."
So.
Of course, I find that really strange because
Yeah.
I leave everything lying about, and I'm not, you know, I don't hide anything whatsoever. So it happened from there really, and someone just said to me, there's loads of different things, different girls, you know, knocking the door and sending messages and flirting on Facebook, which isn't a good thing. So, you know, Facebook is like the root of all evil, apparently so. But yeah, loads
it's one of the
things.
major things that they cited for divorces.
Well,
one
it's
of
not,
the things
it
that
didn't do us any favours.
Yeah.
But someone said to me, why don't you just ask him straight out? And, you know, don't be rude, don't be argumentative, just ask him a question. So I just said, I need to ask you something. He's like, okay. I said, are you seeing anybody? And he just absolutely, completely flipped, throwing everything around, throwing me around.
He threw you around.
And he just threw me out the house with like nothing, no phone, no nothing. And I was just, from there, he just said to me, you're crazy, there's something wrong with you. And I used to go back and I went home and I cried and I missed him so much, I was that ill. And then afterwards I used to just beg him to take me back. I was just, can you take me back? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to accuse you. And he knew that he'd been cheating the whole time. But
was this confirmed later?
He convinced me that it was me going mad, and I literally, from that day...
You believed him?
Yeah, from that day on, I literally did everything. He walked through the door, I'd take his shoes off, I'd run his bath when he came in. He ate 10 meals a day, that was all cooked for when he came home from work. Everything, I took his clothes off, massage his head, massage, you know, his back and everything when he had a long day at work. Nothing I didn't do for him, did everything for him, and it was never enough. So eventually what happened was we ended up, you know, splitting up because I caught him out, and then he ended up kicking me out.
He kicked you out?
Yeah, because I found out that he'd been cheating, so it's kind of a bit bizarre, very, very, very devastating, but, you know, that's life.
Lucy, what do you make of that relationship so far from what you've heard?
Oh, that's a really sad relationship to have been trapped in, but that is typical, isn't it, when someone gets all the power by putting the other person down. So he destroyed your confidence by telling you that you were imagining things and being, you know, delusional, when actually you were the one that knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So he made you question yourself, so your self-esteem dropped and you thought, I don't know what I'm talking about, and I've got to sort of atone for his sins, really.
Yeah, exactly.
He was betraying you.
Exactly.
Yet he made you take the responsibility for it and made you feel like you were the one that was lucky to be in the relationship.
Exactly.
When it sounds like he was so lucky to be in the relationship. And actually you were giving him the power, not the other way around. And
How long
he
were you
was
in that
draining
relationship,
you.
Zahra?
Sorry?
How long were you in that
We
relationship
were together for 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Did you ever have an inkling that maybe you were being taken for a ride?
I knew the whole time.
Really?
See, with me, I'm very old-fashioned, and I believe that, you know, if you're with somebody, you stick it out, and no matter what storms that you have, you work through it. That's what I think our life should be like. But I knew every single day, and I was always miserable. I was crying virtually every single day, and even little things like I'd get upset, and he'd be like, "Why are you upset?" And if we go to bed together, if I was upset, he'd make me go and sleep on the sofa and turn the heating off, so I'd have no blanket and no heating. He'd do really, if I had a cough, he'd be like, why are you breathing like that? It was always every little thing. That's why after that thing, it just reminded me of the way he was. Any little thing he could possibly pick at, he would have to do something.
He was just putting you down to put you down.
Well, exactly.
It wasn't, none of it was true. How long did it take you to get over him when it ended?
Well, literally, the whole time I was miserable, I knew it was coming to an end. It was a case of my dad said to me, just get your stuff and go. And I was like, I can't. I'm scared of where am I going to go, what am I going to do, how am I going to do it? Because I've given up my apartment, I've given up my friends, my family. I didn't have a career at the time. I just did everything. He was my life. I was like the slave at home, cooking, cleaning. That's all I did every single day. He was out all the time. I was at home. And literally, when I found out he'd been cheating, he kicked me out. Had no phone, no numbers, no clothes, no money. Didn't know I had to sleep at the train station. It was just ridiculous. Couldn't speak to my mum because she changed her number. Couldn't speak to my dad. Didn't know how to get home. It was absolutely bizarre. But I just literally, luckily, my friends took me into her house. My friend Gabby and her boyfriend Dave let me stay there for a while, so I could sort myself out. And then my friend just said, just come and move to London. So I just literally don't know where I was going. It's like being blindfolded and having your hands behind your back. You don't know where you're going to go, what's going to happen. And
but you know, Zahra, as you're speaking, there's a mistake that you made that I also made in my relationship. And actually, this was something that was spoken about at the Love School event that I was at yesterday. I'm going to let you guys know after the break what it was. But it's a trap that many women especially fall into, and also some men as well. But we're going to talk about it just after this. Welcome back, and I'm still with Zahra and Lucy, and I've been talking about your relationship, Zahra, and with some great input from Lucy here. Now, something that you were saying that I identified with immediately, and the problem that I also had, that the mistake that you also made, was that you made that person your world. Yeah. It's like with me as well, in my relationship, I made my boyfriend my whole world. So it's like I couldn't function without him. Yeah, he was my everything. If he was annoyed about anything, I'd get upset. Any little thing used to annoy me because I was so into him and he was everything to me. And it's like I forgot about my friends, I forgot about everything else, and just put all my energy, all my strength in him. So when there were problems, even though the issues were very tiny things sometimes, it used to just blow out of proportion. And that's what happens when you make somebody else everything. And it's like I loved him more than anything else in my life. Even more, exactly, even more than myself. And this is what they were talking about yesterday at the Love School. One of the things was that you need to have that self-love first. You need to have that relationship with yourself first and be happy within yourself before you even attempt to be in a relationship. Because a lot of people, they get into relationships to be happy, when they're supposed to be happy within themselves first. And then when they get together with someone who's also hopefully is happy as well, they'll just make each other even happier. But not, if you're looking for someone to make you happy, that's where the clash starts, because you've put everything into that person.
If a relationship's not balanced, it can't be happy. And if you're giving all of your power and all of your focus to somebody else, then what have you got left for yourself? And then what's left for them to love?
Yeah, and you get very boring, don't you? And very clingy.
Yeah, needy.
And needy.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, a man loves a confident woman. A man loves an independent woman, not independent to the extreme where like, oh, I don't need a man and I can do everything for myself. Okay, you can do everything for yourself, of course, but it doesn't mean that you will put the men down as well. You have to find that right balance. You still need to respect your partner. But there's some women that take it, I think, to the extreme in a sense, and they start sort of tarnishing every man with the same brush, which is wrong as well. So you have to find that balance, and the relationships can be great if you get it right. But it's many times we're the ones that mess them up. Do you think, Lucy?
I think anyone can mess up a relationship, but it does take two to work at it, and it takes two to mess it up. Yeah. And if somebody is letting you drain yourself to give them everything, then they haven't got your best interests at heart. And if they haven't got your best interests at heart, then they're not going to care for you, they're not going to look after you, and you're never going to be happy in that relationship unless you both work at making each other feel good.
That's right.
And having empathy and not rowing and feeling that you're in that relationship with your dignity and your happiness intact.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Zahra, you managed to turn things around.
Oh, I did.
Right, so tell us
Yes.
what you're doing now, because you're gonna, we recorded you before performing, we're gonna be showing that in just a moment.
Yes.
But tell us what you're doing now.
So
Lisa.
basically, I've got a record deal. When I was with my ex-boyfriend, I literally didn't do anything. So, you know, as soon as I moved to London, I got off.
Your life was on hold because of him, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally, day by day, week by week, doors have been opening, more performances, and obviously you guys would kind of let me come on the show, which is great. There's just so many things happening for me. I'm working on my album. The next song you're going to hear is going to be one of my singles, so you'll be able to hear that soon. Like just literally loads, from modelling to I'm working on a book, t-shirt company, books about literally my life and how it's all happened, how I've kind of turned things around. So it's quite good. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, like quite a lot of stuff's happening.
Now,
for me right now.
how hard was it for you to sort of move on and like start to find this confidence in yourself and making yourself happy?
Well, to be honest with you, because I've been in a situation before, the previous time it took me about 18 months to even get out of bed. I was that physically ill, yeah. This time round, it was a case of, I'm not letting that guy destroy me the way the previous ex-boyfriend had destroyed me. I'm not going to do it. And it was hard, but I just, luckily I've got some good friends. My best friend that I live with, actually, his name's Brad. He's just kind of picked me up and helped me, and we just laugh and smile every day, and that's what my life is, and I love that. I get up in the morning, I'm smiling, and I could never do that before. So it's been good. I'm
Would
quite
you say you're happy
excited.
within yourself now?
I'm so happy. I feel like I'm flying. I can live. I can breathe. Big weights being lifted
Because
off my
you're
shoulders.
pursuing something that you love. You're doing
Exactly.
something for yourself.
And I'm being me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was never allowed to be me. I'm just me now. I'm happy with that.
And when you do meet someone in the future,
Don't give so much. Don't give so much this time.
so
I'll
you're
try.
already that whole person. Do you see what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
before you were sort of very needy. You put all your strength, all your energy into that man. But now you're different. Now I think you've got something to offer in a relationship as well.
Now I'll definitely change. Like, I won't give as much as I gave before. Like, I know that I need to love myself first. And that's what it is. I always love somebody else more than myself. So
Only give as much as you get.
well, this is
And
it.
then it's
I've learned
balanced,
that the
and
hard
then
way.
someone-
Oh, I don't know
looking
about
after
that,
you.
because I found, for example, in my relationship, for example, I learned first of all to, even though I wasn't getting anything back at first, I learned to just give anyway, and to give
But
my
you
love and
gave
give
to
everything.
get
But
him to give you stuff back.
well, I think I would have done it anyway because I wanted to. But then he did respond, obviously, because I knew that would happen anyway. So I wanted to give to him because I knew that, you know, eventually I wanted to show him that I loved him, basically, and I wanted to change, and I wanted to work on myself, because before we were always like accusing each other. Oh, you're like this, you're like that, and we were both sort of just headbutting all the time. And but when I started to say, okay, I'm not going to point at his faults anymore, I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to change for myself, I'm going to work to improve as a person myself, then I noticed that he started to appreciate and he started to reciprocate that. Obviously, if I'd seen I was doing that for years and nothing was happening, I would probably would have
of
stayed
course,
together.
See, that's
But
the
he
mistake
did,
I make.
yeah.
So you gave, but then he learnt from your giving, and then
Yeah,
he
and
gave
then
too.
it- yeah.
So it still stays balanced. As long as the balance comes,
Yeah,
then
it does
the relationship
eventually.
can work.
Yeah, it does eventually. And it is great, because sometimes people say, you know, I'm just going to end this relationship because it's not working. But I think you really need to try and work on yourself first. Obviously, like we said at the beginning, if, you know, it's an abusive relationship, that's different. You need to really get help for that and make sure, you know, you're not in any danger and everything. But if it's something that you're arguing and it seems like for no reason, just try and talk to someone about it. Maybe someone that's been through something similar, like an older person, or, you know, someone that can actually help you, a counsellor, for example. Don't just say, I'm just going to end it and just walk away, because there's no way of turning things around, because that many people have.
But you can feel really trapped in arguments. And literally feel like your whole life is one big argument. But it can be resolved. But as you say, you have to just learn to stop arguing and think, what do we really want to talk about? What are these arguments representing? What's really behind it?
Yeah, exactly. Get to the root of the problem. Okay, so thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so
Thank
much.
you.
So, Zahra, we recorded you earlier, so we're going to have a look
Yes.
at your performance, and you've got a lovely, lovely voice. I love it. And
Thank
wish
you.
you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's take a look at Zahra in action.
I'm lying here thinking about all the things that we've been through, and I can't believe it's over now.
Welcome back to the show, and now I'm in the self-development clinic with Chris Browne, and I don't know if we're going to actually talk about any of the stuff that you brought, because we're still buzzing about the Love School last night.
Oh, last night, I'll tell you something, I'm still so excited about it. I haven't come off it at all. I mean, it was brilliant. The atmosphere, the excitement, the people. And
wasn't it an honour to be hosting there? I was so honoured.
Wembley
to be
Arena.
There.
How many you had? 11,500.
Yeah, that was great. The crowd were lovely, weren't they?
They were really.
It was everything.
Really
there we had like the performances by that youth group VY. I don't know if we've got some. We've got a few pictures here.
Pictures there.
We had some performances. We had like the prize draws. Obviously, had some great prizes, and then obviously
great
the highlight of
well.
everything. Yeah, there you are in the middle there, Chris.
Oh, am I
There's another one of you actually. Let's take a look. Let's see. There's one of you, the microphone. It looks like you're singing actually. I don't know if we've got that. There we go. It looks like you're blowing out a song. What are you doing there?
That's interesting.
It was such a great time, and obviously the class. Wow, look at that.
That picture, I remember distinctly looking out across and just seeing a sea of people, and that was amazing. Yeah. That was so amazing, brilliant.
You know about Zahra, we could have had her singing in Wembley.
Should have been there,
yeah,
should have been there.
We had a little singing contest there as well, didn't we?
Yeah. Do you know the thing behind it as well? Think about all those people, 11,500, all coming to learn something.
Yeah, that was great.
To develop and,
That's what I said at the start. Do you remember when I came
amazing.
out, I was thinking about it before I went out, and I was thinking there's thousands of people here, and every single one of them is really special because they came to an event. It wasn't for the entertainment, because we didn't really talk about the entertainment in the advertising that much. We didn't talk about the prize. Actually, people didn't know there would be prize draws. We just automatically entered their ticket into the prize draw. So they didn't come for that. They basically came to learn about love and how to have a successful relationship. So they were already open to learn.
Yeah,
so that's what I found really special about that crowd there last night, because they were saying, look, I'm open-minded, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to change, I'm willing to improve, I'm willing to develop, and that's fantastic.
And it was a vast range, it was very diverse, the amount of people there, whether it be age, where from, or wherever, and they, just like you said, it's about love. Love is a universal language at the end of the day, and many people have relationships that go up and go down, or trying to work their lives out in itself, and I just thought that was brilliant, and we need another one.
We do, don't we?
need
Maybe
another
we'll have
one.
one every year. You never know. Wembley Arena
That will
might be coming
brilliant.
again.
That would be brilliant. You know, funny enough, talking about that, one I was going to talk about, we was talking about conflict and relationships earlier on. And it's funny because someone said about giving and holding back, and that's all right. And well, I put a little twist on that because I actually think it's about giving. On both sides.
Yeah.
It's about giving all the way through. But let's talk about the workplace and conflict, because that's
so different kind of
another area of conflict.
Although the relationships are quite similar, aren't they? Work relationships
It's very similar.
Yeah.
But obviously we're talking about like a boss and employee or colleagues that we work with, but very similar. Everything's about relationships and how we communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Now, particularly, we're talking about conflict. Now, the one question I put, is conflict a negative or is it a positive? Because a lot of people think automatically, well, conflict, that's terrible. It's not always that bad. Actually, sometimes that conflict, there's a lot of positives that come out of it after. It's got to get into a point of knowing what you're actually about, what's the conflict about, and come to a point of resolution, right? So let's just go through this. I mean, I'm talking about here conflict, and let's talk about a manager, right? Manager in a company, you think automatically they're the manager. So we're saying manager in a situation of conflict or mediator. Because many times, and just general in life, even when you walk down the road and you see a bit of conflict, you don't want to really get involved, right? Just kind of like,
oh, you get those other type of people that were like, oh yeah, I've got front row seats for a nice argument
I've
here, don't
seen
you?
that a few times, driving past and
it's
see something
bad,
happening and people stop to have a look, yep?
Yeah.
No, but same thing with a manager as well. You've got to realise, they've got to realise their role is as mediator to sort things out and find out what's going on, so you can have your colleagues working in a better cohesion together. Because if you're going to let that go on and ignore it, as a manager, you failed. You have failed. It isn't just about putting out the reports and all that. You have failed if you couldn't help resolve that for employees.
Yeah.
So manager, mediator, or manager, mediator.
Okay.
In the role of a manager.
Right.
Right? Okay, let's talk about resolving. Just going to go straight to this straight away as we run on time. Resolving.
About 3 minutes. Right?
We got 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, we got 3 minutes, right? We'll sit around for 3. Right, okay, 3 minutes. Let's put this, resolving. You've got to work out what's actually upsetting you. You've got a conflict with your colleague and you're thinking, well, I've got a grudge going on here, or what's happening gets worse as it goes along the way. Sometimes it's better to actually work out, well, what is actually upsetting you about that person, about the issue, what's going on. It could be something about the coffee machine, could be something about whatever. You know, sometimes, why I say coffee machine, because sometimes it's something that's so simple.
As we were talking about before.
Yeah, and it just blows up and it grows and you actually forget what it's about, but you're just not getting on with that person. So first of all, work out what it's about. When you're trying to work out what it's about, you've got to get to that point of asking the person a question, right? And sometimes you've got to be a bit direct and ask what it's about. Sit down and talk with them on it. It's not always that easy. I'm probably saying this now. Somebody sitting down and say, yeah, you don't know what's happening at my workplace today. Yeah. Or, you know, it's not that easy. It is easy. Just ask the person directly. But you've got to be able to have ears to actually listen. You know, in the communication, there's a sender, right, talking, and there's a receiver, your listener. Then it bounces back the other way, sender, receiver. So you've got to communicate with each other, realise what this is about. Be prepared that when you ask them what it's about, to respond to it. Right, responding to it shows, well, being concerned. When I say responding, not responding saying, well, no, I didn't do this, or no, I don't do that. Be able to respond and take time. Think about what a person's actually said. Is it true? Is it not true? Have you got a valid point to actually send something back and say, so you can actually work out and hear on both sides? Because a lot of time, we don't really want to hear.
No, yeah, the problem is sometimes, in any kind of relationship, whether it's a work relationship or even like a romantic relationship, and the problem that I used to have was I was more interested in proving that I was right rather than actually resolving what was going on at that time.
That's right.
So of course, when someone is in a conflict with that kind of attitude as I had, then it's very difficult to actually to even stop the argument. It's just going to go on and on for ages because that person is just trying to prove a point and they will do anything and say anything and to prove a point, just to be right. And that's a matter of pride as well, because...
Very much so, very much so. And we call that in that area of conflict, it's positioning. I've got this position and I'm going to stay there regardless of what. I'm not going to come forward, I'm not going to go back, I'm staying in this position. Call that positioning. So the pride kicks in, the ego comes in, and I'm not going to budge, not unless you give in to me. Right? Which makes it worse for yourself as well, because sometimes you actually do want to give in when you're in that position, but because your pride is built up so much, you just can't give in, and nobody shifts or resolves it in any kind of way. Then we've got, let's talk about agreeing what the problem is. Because you may talk about it, but do you actually agree? It doesn't mean that we're going to resolve it and it's all going to be pretty and great automatically. We've got to get to that point of realizing, well, this thing is actually the issue, right? And if you haven't recognized it on both sides, that this is what the issue is, it's still going to carry on after, because you're still just going, oh, all right, we resolved it, we shake, we hug, we get on, let's get on with it. But walk away in your mind with it still there, thinking it's not a win-win situation. So you've got to realize, well, is this matter really the issue? When you've come to agreement on that, you're about to move on, right? So we've got to get to that point. Now that we've got to the point and we've realized what it is, it's how do we work it out, right? That's
You better not leave everyone hanging. You better tell everyone how to work it out, because we're almost finished.
Right, it's how do we work it out? And in trying to work out how to work it out, it is about giving and taking. It is about now I've recognized what the real issue is, how are we going to resolve it? And you've got to get to that win-win situation, right? And back to that, what we was talking about earlier on about giving and taking and holding back. In a win-win situation, you've got to give, but at the same time, you've got to hold back a bit, which is kind of strange saying that because it sounds contradictory, but it's both parties. It's both parties. Win-win. You make sure that they win and you make sure that you win and you come to a resolution in it. Conflict resolution. Right? At work.
At work.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for that.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you again next time.
Next week.
Monday.
Yeah,
okay. So that's it for today's show. I really hope that's helped you. But I think, you know, the underlying thing that we want to say here today is that, you know, sometimes, not sometimes, arguments are inevitable in any kind of situation, whether it's a relationship. Things happen, you have disagreements because you're different to other people. You're not exactly the same. So of course things are going to come up, but there is always a solution if you sit down and talk and if you're not getting to a solution yourselves, so the two of you or whatever the situation is, ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. I had to do that in my relationship one day. And I know it would, if I hadn't got the help when I did, I don't think I'd be with my partner today. And you know, our relationship changed so much. So much, and it's proof that things can be worked out with the right help. So don't stay stuck in a rut. Get some help. If you need some information from me or point in the right direction, you can also email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. So that's all we've got time for today, unfortunately. But we'll see you again next time on the Chrissy B Show. Bye bye for now.
Like, give me a few people's numbers, I'll sort it out, do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know, because you don't really I don't think you can sort it out, to be honest.
Why?
You
All you need is like someone just to force it. Force it.
Yeah.
Just give me the numbers and I'll sort it out, because I need you at that party. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, no, it's
And
fun,
then next month we're going to be going to Ibiza.
Oh, I don't know if I can afford it.
Your face.
I don't think I can afford it. I don't think I can afford it. I don't think I can afford it.
Someone get me away from that psycho.